Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 7 kiddos. On this channel, I will do videos on homeschool, on large family life, on travel, road trips, a variety of things. So I wanted to do a video. We have finally purchased property in Colorado. We are finally done. It's been kind of a long process, and if you know, we live in Texas, and Colorado is kind of like our happy place. So I wanted to do a few things. Actually, let's see, how many do I have here? I have it written down because I was thinking about it the other day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 things that we have kind of learned in this process. We had started looking at property out of state in Colorado probably about 3 years ago, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. I can't remember. 3 years ago. And you know, we kind of went, we didn't have the funds at the time, but we wanted to go and see what we had, what was available. And what we learned very quickly, especially right now, I say right now, but even 3 years ago, this was the case, is that you find something really good and you like it. And you go home and you talk about it, and then you contact the realtor, and then it's gone. So, the biggest thing that I can tell people who are trying to purchase land or property out of state is that you have to act pretty quickly. Now, that is the case right now for everything as far as homes are concerned, as far as properties in state, whatever it might be. It is no joke when it comes to claiming that land or that house or whatnot. One of the things that we have learned, the first thing, is that know that not always what you see, the pictures, are going to be taken at that specific property. We have come across, and my husband normally does this, was pretty much doing most of the researching as far as properties go. There would be listings online that would have these properties, and it would say down there, this was not taken at the property, or this was not taken, at this location. It would have like mountains in the picture, and so you think this is great, and then you contact the realtor, and you pretty much have to ask, was this taken on the property? So that is one thing that we learned pretty quickly, like, this looks great, this is a great deal. And then there are so many factors that you have to consider when you are looking at something out of state that you cannot physically look at that exact time. So number one, do not always trust the pictures that you see, and ask the realtors, and get to know the realtors and feel comfortable with the realtor that you are working with there. We had been working with a realtor a few years back, and I contacted her. She didn't have really anything that on her listings that we really were interested in. But get familiar with a realtor and get to know them on a personal level and feel comfortable with them, so that when you ask the questions, that you know that they're giving you the answer that they should be giving you. Do not just trust any realtor, but always know that pictures are not always the same ones that are on the property are the ones that you see on the listings. You have to ask. So you have to ask questions. First and foremost, you have to ask questions. Now, like I said, my husband did most of that. He has some family that lives in Colorado that has helped us actually quite a bit. And so we appreciate that if you're watching. That he would ask and get, tips from. And, when you're dealing with a property, it's a lot different. with wells and things like that, and what is allowed, especially in a different state that you're not familiar with. So know, if you have connections, go with those connections, because they will be honest with you and they will tell you what it is that you need to know in that particular state. Do your research. When we have seen properties that we like, we have had to do research on wells. Is it possible to have a well, or do you have to have water shipped in? We are not building right now, but in the future, when we start to build something or put something on that property, we need to know, how are we going to get our water? There are a lot of places that wells aren't possible. And so you have to pay to get your water shipped in. Now, a family of 9 currently, we use a lot of water. So that would be an issue and might get kind of expensive. So HOA also. When you are dealing with HOA, you are dealing with them telling you when you can build, your minimum square footage that you can build on this property. And it cannot be something a lot of times where you start building and then you can finish 5 years later. Like, you have 12 months, 18 months to finish your building and your house. And you have all these restrictions. And so that is something that we did not want. So we steered clear of the HOA. If we saw a property that we liked that had HOA, that was kind of a done deal, because we just didn't want to have to deal with that, with a lot of unknowns. One situation that we came across, we had a property that this is the one that we purchased as our third property that we looked at, or that we were interested in and got serious about. The second property that we were looking at, we were actually under contract, and we found out that it was not in the seller's name. It was in his father's name, who was deceased. And so that would require us to get the okay from all of the siblings that he could sell it, on his behalf. And it was a lot of work. Long story short, we ended up getting out of that contract. We got our earnest money back getting out of that contract. So this was almost to closing date that we found this out. So ask that up front if you can. Is this in the person that is trying to sell it? Do they have the legal rights to sell this property? Because if not, we could have gone through with it, but it would have been a heck of a lot of trouble. And we just felt like that wasn't where we were supposed to be. Know about your surrounding areas. The very first property that we found, my husband actually flew there that weekend and looked at the property. We liked it online, but you could it was close enough to a main road where you could hear the road, and that was not okay with him. So he flew there, and we ended up not getting that property and not moving forward with that property. But in the end, you have to think of this as, if this is going to be your vacation home or your retirement home or whatnot, this is going to be something that you're going to have forever. And hopefully keep in your family forever. And so those kind of things matter. And this is kind of a big purchase. So if you can go visit and you can see what the property looks like, obviously that would be ideal. Now, having had just done that, the property that we just signed on a few days ago, actually, or last week, we did not have the time to go and look at it. This is where trusting your realtor comes in. We were confident in the communication with the realtor, and we just felt like this was the best property for us. We actually ended up going a little bit more north, where there was a little bit more landscape views, as opposed to further down south in the Colorado area, where in the southern Colorado, where it's a little bit drier and more flat. So it worked out. But trust the realtor. make sure that you have faith in the realtor that you are working with and they are communicating with you, and they can send you pictures from the property personally. Just know that what you see online is not always what it is going to be in person, especially surrounding areas. So, if that's important to you to, can I hear the road? Do I have an area to build a house, or is it just like mountainous? There's some areas where you buy this property and there's nowhere to build a house because, it's like hilly or mountainy or, it's just not a good foundation for it. So make sure that write down your list, and does it check all of your boxes? Is it what ideally you want in a forever property? Finally, like I said before, do you have to have, this goes along with the HOA, do you have to build within a certain time? When we start building, well, first we have to do the well, obviously, but when we start building, it is not going to be a 12-month thing. And so not having that HOA is going to be a good thing because A, you don't have those restrictions. B, you don't have somebody coming to tell you what you can build, what you can't build. If you wanted to come and put a trailer on it, you could do that. If you wanted to come and camp on it, you could do that. So know what you are getting into. I know that sounds very simple, but I will tell you that when we first started looking at properties a few years ago, a lot of these things were not things that we thought about. We did not think about these specific things and how it would affect, living there in the future, or building a vacation home there in the future, or ideally what you want. Flood zoning isn't too huge of an issue, I don't think. Texas it is. Colorado, it is when snow melts and things like that. So obviously that you want to make sure you are not in a flood zone if you're at the bottom of the mountain and, it's snowing all winter and then the snow is melting, so think of those things as well. So just a few tips that I wanted to kind of say. And if anybody is looking at purchasing property out of state, these things sound like common sense to you, but really it's things that you have to think about instead of, wow, that looks like a great piece of property. And like I said, you have to act fast. Like this is a matter of, do you see this? Okay, does it check all my boxes? Let's put our deposit down or our earnest money down and just hold it. And you have within that time frame to get out of the contract. So be diligent, but be, allow yourself to picture what your future home is going to look like there. And if it, like I said, if it checks all the boxes, if it, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Now one of the properties that we were looking at was, I forget the exact amount. It was 35 acres. I can't remember. A lot, almost 36 acres, I think. And it was, it was a good price, but it was also further south. And so you have the flat land, you have a little bit more dusty. You don't have all the vegetation and as much grass in that area. And so up north, we have a little bit under 6 acres that we got for about the same price. But keep in mind that the views and the landscape and the just the overall atmosphere is going to be a little bit better. So, you weigh your options, and if it's something that you say, do I really, could we get something better for this price? Maybe. Just do a lot of research and do not just look at one website. My husband found this one, the property that we purchased, on a website, like an independent website. It was a realtor. On the website that we have here in our area, you can actually look at all of the houses for sale pretty much in this whole area. And so some, especially properties, will be listed on different websites, not just on a main website. So do a lot of research. It takes a lot of time, and I will say my husband did most of it, because as far as like the specifics, I didn't quite know what all I was looking for as far as mineral rights and, well information and HOA stuff. And so he would send it to me and I'd say, yeah, okay, that looks good. And I would just trust his judgment. So anyway, let me know if you have any questions, comments, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.